No, man. This has got to be another reason why George Lucas never was man, because this is ridiculous. So this one clone said, nah, twin, fuck this shit. He just decides to shoot a rocket launcher at him. And I'm not gonna lie, was that warranted? Yes. I mean, they gotta try something to stop this man. So when they finally reach the ground floor, they are surrounded by a bunch of super battle droids. And Grievous just drops from the building right in front of them. So Mr. Mid-Slug nigga decides to use a fuse owl, but Grievous was prepared this time. He uses his starts moving the He was trying every trick in the book and couldn't stop this man at all. So they just decided to run. There was no point in fighting him. So while they was on the run, Grievous's Magna Guard ended up killing the final two clones. So the only ones that were left standing protecting Palpatine was Shaak Ti and the other two Jedi. So they were having to run for their lives through the city while Grievous and his Magna Guards were chasing them. This whole chase was just insane. They were fighting on a ship to Grievous just destroying it. They ended up fighting in a subway station. And I'm not gonna lie, this next scene had to be one of the most terrifying scenes of all time. When they thought they were safe behind this train, this man Grievous pops up right behind him. Jump scare of doom. So he starts walking them down and pushing them back. Then kicks both Jedi to the side. So he ends up walking up to Shaak Ti and telling her, "So you questions Jedi stop. They have escaped from me before. What to have done? But Shaak Ti ends up pulling off a 10,000 IQ big brain play. She used the horse to wrap this man's cape around the train. So when the train was ready to go, Grievous just gets sparked. And this finally brought them some time to escape from this man. So about a good 20 minutes passed, and they think that they finally shaken Grievous. Shaak Ti ended up splitting up from him, and the other two Jedi ended up taking Palpatine to his bunker so he could be safe. So when they got in there and locked all the doors, they thought that they were in the clear. But they were soon about to realize not even getting yoinked by a high-speed train would stop this man. Grievous was waiting for them in that room the entire time.
Once again, into the confluence.
Fight the other two Jedi.
Our enemies
And while
await
he is doing
Bring
and
them
this
fire. We'll keep your exit into the open clear for when you're ready. I wonder. Mara did not rip his legs.
niggas Grievous. That was shit.
Grievous
Getting stuck in a lightsaber clash. And this is when Grievous finally revealed his trump card. The thing that he's most famous for. He pulls out the other two arms and starts
Grievous would
using
be aware of such an arrangement.
And when he was using all of his arms, they stood no chance. Grievous pushed and it was game over for both of them. So Grievous finds Palpatine, and he looking at him like, Morpheus, are you impressed? About the fucking time you have, Great Collect. Now get me on the ship in this fucking gun. Okay, on a real note, Grievous actually never knew that Palpatine was serious. That is still hilarious for how oblivious he was to him. But anyways, Shaak Ti finally ends up making it to the moon. She's Jedi. Did. I'm having a little trouble here. Can you please help me? Well, Shaak Ti runs that quick and he gets to the side. So he takes her safe his collection and decides to hit Palpatine to actual shock. He just likes taking Palpatine to the shock. Just like you would make demons and Grievous leaning back, and cursing. And this is the incident in this continuity that gave him that iconic loss. So the ship takes off and Grievous escapes. This just starts. Yeah, that's basically the end of case two. This is and launched a full invasion on Coruscant, rolled into the Chancellor's room and slaughtered like 20 clones in the most brutal way fashion. The disciple chased the Jedi throughout the whole city, then killed 2 of them and knocked out Shakti for his second kill. This is some of the most wicked work of all time. And that is the end of our first ever Forbidden Wars. I can clearly see and understand why this demon is in Revenge of the Sith and 3D Clone Wars, then dear God, that being said, hopefully y'all enjoy. Let me know if y'all want any more Forbidden Wars. So make sure to follow our social. That is why I tell y'all what videos will be. And until next time.
Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes. Get paid.
It's all down with it. Slaters taking on zone. Chickens.
The Lakers have been busy. Lakers are trading center DeAndre Ayton to the Wizards for Jaden Hardy and 2 second-round Ayton playing 1 season in LA, averaging career lows of 12.5 points.
The former #1 overall pick just got traded for a bench guard and 2 second-round picks that won't even matter until 2031. And somehow, some way, both teams are walking away from this trade genuinely happy. That's how weird the DeAndre Ayton trade is. The Lakers are thrilled to be rid of him. The Wizards are thrilled to have him. And both of them are right. It almost never happens in a trade that looks this lopsided. So today I'm going to break down the 3 things that matter here. Why the Lakers paid to get off of the starting center that they signed exactly 1 year ago. Why Washington, a team that is in the midst of one of the most impressive rebuilds I've ever seen, quietly won this thing. And the one free agent whose name explains everything that the Los Angeles Lakers are planning to do next. There's also a funny little Anthony Davis subplot around this whole trade that's honestly pretty hilarious. So I'm going to break all this down. Before we get to the content, we are running a major Grand Theft Auto 6 giveaway for multiple subscribers that turn on their notifications on this channel. We're running the same exact giveaway for followers on my Instagram page, on my X, on my TikTok page, and on my Snapchat. So if you want additional ways to win this game, make sure you're following on all these accounts. And now let me get all that out of the way, do the intro. Mike Chuck 1212. What's going on, everybody? Let me walk in exactly what went down, because the details are the whole story here. Sean reported on Friday that the Lakers are sending DeAndre Ayton to Washington for Jaden Hardy and 2 second-round picks, 2031 and 2032. That's it. That's in return for a starting center who started 72 games for the Lakers last season. Here's the piece that people are skipping past here. This wasn't the Lakers getting swept. See, after they traded for Walker Kessler, the Lakers literally had 0 draft picks left that they were allowed to trade. Nothing except their own 2033 second-round pick. They completely emptied the cupboard. So getting 2 second-round picks back here quietly off the shelf. And the money is very important here too, which I'm going to break down in a minute. On Washington's end, Jaden Hardy, the 24-year-old combo guard, shoot a career 38+% from 3, but he was buried behind 4 other guards. Both teams traded from a spot where they just genuinely didn't need their player anymore. That's the setup, but we gotta talk about how we even got here. To understand why one team dumped this guy and another jumped to grab him, you have to understand how far DeAndre Ayton has actually fallen. And it's a long way down. In my bets in this video, said DeAndre Ayton was on a similar path. If you go all the way back to 2018, Ayton goes #1 overall. This man got drafted ahead of the likes of Luka Doncic and Trae Young, which is kind of funny because he eventually became teammates with Luka Doncic and now he's teammates with Trae Young. And at the time, it wasn't seen as a bad pick. For a while, Ayton looked like a slam dunk #1 overall pick. He anchored the Phoenix Suns team that reached the 2021 finals. He was putting up a double-double basically every single season, and the Suns backed up the truck, although fairly reluctantly. They matched the Indiana Pacers offer sheet to DeAndre Ayton to sign him to a 4-year extension worth almost $133 million. And it seemed like the moment DeAndre Ayton got that,
does it work anyway? Raising the ghost. I mean, spirit.
Ahamkara are an anomaly of themselves. The fabric of reality. In death, they stand. It is an earth. What remains? Coalescence.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I'm not interested in anything you're selling.
I don't sell. I grant. I give. Graciously and fully. I'm your chaperone to happiness. But what wouldn't you give